Welcome back to the channel, folks. I'm your host, Fog. Thank you for joining another episode here on Battle Gamers. And today, we're actually in my workshop. I mean, essentially, that's what this is. It's where I run. If you haven't followed the channel for quite a long time, or you've seen majority of arcade stuff and Infinity Game Table and things like that, the channel started out again to support indie games, and we still do that. And there's also a retro game side of it that many episodes have been recorded around that. And I also run a little bit of a business that handles selling retro games and doing mystery boxes and stuff like that on the side too. That's a totally different thing. So I'm a contributor for Battle Gamers, and in this kind of area, this is where I spend most of the winter when I'm working on anything. I like to kind of mess around fixing consoles, fixing games, all sorts of stuff that way, cleaning them, getting them ready for different shows, things like that to sell at. And I also like to look at other things. So one of the things we're looking at today, and it's going to be a series, we're going to be doing 4 of these, and they're going to focus around controllers for mobile games or mobile phones specifically. I'm an iPhone user, iPad, things like that, Apple TV. I really like their products, but I also have an Android device that I've worked with Android for many years. So we do have that. We will cover a little bit around Android as well in this, but mainly it's going to be just talking about where mobile games have went to, kind of where they were and kind of what they've been for the past couple years in terms of Apple Arcade and Google Play Pass and, the controller support now that they have. And one of the specific things is controllers, right? That's a big thing. And I kind of always thought, well, the controllers are not the greatest, right? The one that I really like is for this NVIDIA Shield, and it was an NVIDIA controller and the Shield, and it was basically a game system in the sense of it could stream Steam games to it, and it could, basically control majority of newer games on Android. So Apple, with their Apple Arcade that they delivered, which is their $4.99 a month, not unlimited, sorry, $4.99 a month with hundreds of games available to it that you can download and you can play on your device. And usually it supports your iPhone, your iPad. It'll support your Mac PCs or Mac laptops and Apple TVs here. So you usually get the benefit of being able to get the game that you like to play and just carry it through your experience on your other Mac devices or iOS devices. And the save games go right along with it. They synchronize. So if I start a game on my iPhone and I stop and then I open my MacBook Pro or my iTV or whatever I would have, my Apple TV, and you would be able to start off that game, majority of the games, from the exact same spot that you left off on your iPhone. So that's kind of a nice feature. It's a great function to have. They've become the largest gaming machine out there, essentially. That was just announced a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. And Apple's revenues for games and apps is just phenomenal, and their user base is phenomenal, just like Android's is phenomenal, right? They're two mega giant operating systems that have massive amounts of players on them. But talking about iPhone, I thought we'd start with the first one. This is the top of the line controller for iPhone. This is a Backbone. And the Backbone device itself is fairly nice. Overall, we'll take some close-up shots, but in terms of build quality, I love doing this. I don't know why. It's just fantastic. In terms of build quality, the Backbone is probably the best device that you can get out there. It's expensive. It's $100. And I guess that's not too expensive when you consider, PS5 controllers are $69 now. So a controller that gives you basically gaming system capabilities, being $100, a little bit pricey, but this one does come with some other stuff. And to give you an idea, and we'll do some close-up shots, the unit is basically built for just the phone itself. It doesn't really have the ability to keep your phone case on it. So automatically I start to ding those devices, right? Like if you can't keep the thing that protects a $1,500 or $1,000 device wrapped in like the plastic that keeps it from shattering when it hits the ground, when you're trying to take it out of this, you're going to get nicked on it, right? You're going to get a ding on it because it should just be something that you do. Now, it does securely hold the unit. Once you get it wrapped around there, and it can support up to the iPhone Pro Max, so like the 12, 13 device Pro Max, the largest one. I think it's a 6.7 screen, 7-inch screen is the largest one so far. So taking a look at the backbone controller a little closer, again, here's your keypad layout, your D-pad, your analogs, with the right and left clicks. You have your L1, R1, R2, L2, and then you do have access to a audio port on this one, an audio jack for, I think it's a 3.5 millimeter, and then a charging port. Now, one important thing to note here, this port does not accept the Apple accessories like the HDMI adapter. So you cannot play this with the HDMI adapter plugged in onto a TV. You're going to have to use an Apple TV, and I will showcase that here in a few minutes in the video. You also have pretty easy access to your volume keys on your phone, as well as your silence button. And that's basically it overall. It fits really well. It stretches out. You see the backbone logo, but at this point, you're ready to go. So let's talk about the setup here first, how we're doing this, so everybody's aware how I'm getting the footage. What we're going to do is wirelessly connect to the Apple TV that's connected to this TV, as well as my laptop that's got a capture card. It's an AverMedia capture card, and we're going to be recording the live feed on that. That's appearing on the TV, so you'll be able to get as the best visual quality, but will also show how it looks like as I'm playing using the controller that's connected to the phone. So the first thing we need to do, if you've never done this, is slide down on your iPhone, go into mirroring. It's like two little rectangles, and for example, my Apple TV down here is the game room. Now you can see it's appeared on the screen, and at that point we can go ahead and get out of here, and then we'll just hit the backbone button. Should get us in horizontal or landscape. And let's just take a look at Castlevania, for example. This is an Apple Arcade game. This one plays really well with the controller, or any controller. It also will work directly with the Apple TV, so you don't have to stream it this way to your Apple TV, but you could. It, again, will bring your save over and all that stuff, but we're going to show that on here using this phone and controller setup. So it is a full Castlevania looking game, so when we go into it, we get some benefits of, getting some daily bonuses. The game, and we'll talk a little bit about the game, you should be able to hear some of it. Obviously in the direct feed, you'll be getting audio pretty good on there. It'll sound just like it does on the phone. But this is what the game looks like. You can see him controlling it. Your triggers work as your quick roll and dodge. You have your face buttons that actually give you your attack, your jump, your special powers. Your right stick gives you some additional special powers. Like that's like a whip attack. And then if you press up, you get a throwing knife, I think it is. Some kind of projectile weapon. So we'll get up here and get this guy. We have a much more powerful attack. You can see that right there. Using that right stick. But overall, you get all the functionality of the controller layout that you would on like a Xbox controller that you can use with your iTV or your iPhone, or a PlayStation controller. All the same functionality. And ultimately, you could just use those devices as well. They're not as convenient, where the phone's sandwiched in between and it's more like a Switch enabled layout. And this is $100. So is that worth it to you to have something portable that's dedicated for your phone? It's hard to say. So that's Castlevania. Let's go ahead and jump out of here. We'll press that backbone button. It'll throw us back into the launcher. And let's take a look at another game. We will do Pathless. Pathless is a kind of an interesting game. Again, this one supports touch or controller. We're going to use obviously a controller. It's available on Switch. It's available on Xbox and PlayStation, I think, and Steam. So this game has made its rounds. It's not just an iOS exclusive, which Castlevania is. And if you've watched any of the other videos with me or streams, you kind of know my stance on exclusivity. I think it sucks. It's a bad thing for consumers. Not very happy about it when it happens. So overall, not going to rehash that right now, at least for the rest of this video. We'll talk about it again probably next video. But you can kind of see that overall the game is running excellent. With the controller, it definitely gives you that experience. It's really positive. It feels like it does on the PlayStation 5. You get the same abilities. It's kind of a very cool thing that mobile does now. And really you can't call it mobile anymore. It's more along the lines of like smartphone or Android operating system or iOS operating system gaming. As we said before, Apple was kind of declared the winner so far in gaming. They have the largest audience, they have the largest revenues out of anything, which is not hard to believe, especially when you're talking about 1 billion users probably on iPhone. I don't know how many, but way more than there would be on console. It's really something that you can't fathom or put your head around. I know I can't, in terms of how many people have smartphones and how many people have Androids. There's billions of those out there. So yeah, pretty wild. And this kind of experience is becoming far more normal to have as your gaming experience. So let's jump out of this and let's get out of the Backbone controller. Here, what we can do, we'll take a look at one other arcade game, Apple Arcade game in this episode, and then we'll do final thoughts. So, the one thing that you're going to have as a downside is any game where it's in vertical mode, right? If you're in vertical mode, you're not necessarily going to be able to play it on here. So one of the games that comes to mind is Pinball Party. This is the Pinball FX essentially for mobile, and you can kind of see it's in a vertical or portrait position because it's a pinball game. Really hard. Although the controller works with it, this controller does not do very well with these types of games. There is another one coming down the road in another episode that we're going to review that will handle vertical much better, and it does make this game play exceptionally well. But for this game, although I can control it normally, the view, unless I'm playing it on like a TV, like it's streaming, the view is obviously going to be skewed. It's built to play in portrait, but it still recognizes that the controller's there. Now I can, still use the touch screen, but realistically the way you'd want to play is with your trigger buttons up here, your left and your right, and having the ability to nudge the table with the analog. That's more how it's built. That's an area where this controller, although it's probably the top of the line in cost and everything, it fails. It cannot do vertical gaming on your phone. Okay, so ultimately, what do I think of the Backbone controller for the iPhone? It's hard to say. It's probably one of the best built controllers for it, but in terms of the price and in terms of some of the downsides, I probably would lean away from this controller. Number one, to me, is you can't have a case on it when it's inside of the Backbone grip itself. That is a huge downside. And the reason why that is to me is that you're going to be potentially using this on the bus, on streets, outside of your home, away from carpet, away from padding, away from anything. And when you go to take this thing out of there, there is always that chance that it slips and hits the ground. So, thinking of that, I'm actually going to put my case back on. But, these things are $1,500 or $1,000, whatever you're paying for your smartphone. You don't want to have to worry about that. And you can't get that case and the phone into this device. It's just not built for it. Now, it is nice that it does have, the ability to size itself, and still that is fantastic and very satisfying. It can fit like the iPhone 8, a smaller iPhone 12, whatever. It's going to be able to move in and out to be able to fit those devices. Somewhat of a downside is you can see the connector. The connector means that it's only going to work with the phone. It's not going to be Bluetooth. It's not going to have functionality outside of it, and it won't connect to an Android device. So it is stuck in perpetuity to an iPhone itself, right? It won't stretch for an iPad. It can't go on an Android. There is no Bluetooth to use it for anything else other than an iPhone. So somewhat of a downside, right? Not the worst, but these proprietary connectors become a problem, and there's no way to get around that. But it is probably the best connection, though, because it's not going to be interfered with. It's going to give you a perfect experience, and you're going to be able to charge the phone while you're playing, which is a pretty phenomenal capability. So can't argue there. The other downside of this sucker is the app that they wanted you to buy into. It's a nice interface. I like the interface. I just can't see spending $50 a year to have that interface when you can just go and tap things on the screen and it works just fine. It's optional, but they should just make it free. If it was included with the $99 purchase of the device and you never had to pay for it, my God, that's a good experience there. And it's probably worth the $30 more than most of the other controllers that you can get for these, even a PS5 or an Xbox One XS, One X, whatever the standard Xbox controller is. Overall, the buttons, the feel, like I said, you're not going to get a better experience. It is probably the top of the stack in terms of quality. We're only going to go down from here, but that's not a bad thing, because it's there's other units out there that I think you'll be just as satisfied with, or at least fit different people's idea of satisfaction in a controller experience for the phone. Overall, I like it. We will stack all these up together against each other, but just for now, based upon the price and based upon the limited ability to fit a case, no ability really to fit a case on it, it's going to be two downsides on this controller that I'm going to have a problem telling people to go out and spend the $99 on this. If you can get it cheaper, always check Amazon's warehouse deals, things like that. There'll be links in the bottom of each of the videos, specifically for this one, for this device, that you can go in, and that does support us. So it is like an Amazon affiliate link. So just so everybody knows, if you want to buy it, just go find it somewhere else. But I will try to link to other cheaper units, maybe in the Amazon warehouse, that you might be able to get for a different price or less of a price. But obviously they're not always available. I didn't see any when I picked this up. I did buy this. This is not given to me. And it was $99. So again, somewhat of an expensive thing just for an iPhone, and very limited functionality beyond this. You can't use it with any other console. It's, again, in perpetuity going to work with your iPhone. But that might not be a bad thing for some. So, folks, hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got something out of this video. If you do have any questions, hit them up in the comments. Let me know. If you want to see something else about it, let me know. If you want to see other games that are in the Apple Arcade in a separate video, let me know those as well. I'm happy to do those videos to kind of showcase more what's on mobile devices these days, rather than just keep it a mystery or not check it out at all. I think there's some value in there, and I think it's really good gameplay in certain games. So it's getting better every day. Let's just say that. Also, if you haven't already, give this video a like or dislike. If you don't like this, if you don't like mobile stuff, let me know. But if you want to see more about it, not a full mobile channel, Mobile Mondays with Dakota Shea is something she does, and I'm not trying to invade there. I was just trying to talk about some accessories for that. But, the channel's not going to turn into mobile centric. It's all about arcades, retro games, gaming, current gen gaming, next level gaming, VR gaming, mobile gaming, whatever it is, it's gaming. So you'll see some of this in the next couple videos, but it's just because it's an idea that I had, and I wanted to kind of talk about options to be able to play, these mobile games with a better experience. You know, actually, rather than just playing touchscreen, you get to play with a controller. So also, on your way out, if you could, give us a subscribe. We'd love to have you stop back, check out more content here on the channel. And until next time, we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.